Well, my name is Bohn, and I work for West Coast Chain Manufacturing Company. I am the Chief Financial Officer here. I've been here about a year and a half. And the company makes retractable keychains like this and retractable devices to make the working man's life easier. Through Sirius, I heard about Proxios. They contacted me and said that they wanted me to have a conversation with Bohn, the prior CEO. We had a couple-hour conversation, and here I am. We had another IT company, and they were talking about taking us to the cloud. And we knew that we had very antiquated servers, and we were on an accounting system called Sage, and we were on the 2016 version. And that version was quite old and it was not going to be supported any longer. And in fact, Microsoft stopped supporting some of the emailing processes of that Sage version, and we needed to upgrade, and we couldn't upgrade on our existing servers because they were too small. So we needed to go to the cloud. So I created a requirements document about what we wanted from our new company, and we were not particularly happy with the company that we were with, and we were concerned about their ability to take us to the cloud. So one of our board members suggested that we talk to Patrick. And so Bohn and I called up Patrick, and we chatted with him on the phone, and he was absolutely terrific, and it became very apparent he knew exactly what he was talking about. And we talked with him about what we should be asking for, what our requirements should be for our new IT company. And so he was very, very helpful. We had multiple conversations with him, and not at any point in time did he try to sell Proxios to us. The fact of the matter was that after we got through talking with him, we were so impressed with what we had heard that we finally just concluded that rather than looking any further, we would simply go with Proxios. And that was a great decision. Patrick put us in touch with some of the other people in your organization, with Jared and Tim as well. I don't recall Tim's last name, but he was really helpful in getting us up and running. Tim, I could call on the weekends at any time, and he always would be able to find an answer for me as I asked question after question, as I tend to do, when we were going through this process of making that decision. And so everyone that we came in contact with at Proxios was very, very knowledgeable. And you guys are problem solvers. That's what it amounts to. You solve the problem. We come to you as a client, and we say, this is what we need. How is the best way for us to solve this problem? And you figure out the answer. We evaluated whether or not we should bring an IT group in-house, but that's difficult to do because then they may not have all the expertise you need for all the different things you need. And with Proxios, we get people who are doing nothing but that kind of work 24 hours a day. And so we get the latest technology, which is great. Another reason that we decided to do this whole cloud transition rather than purchase our own servers is that we are planning to expand, and we probably will expand through acquisition as well. As I mentioned, we did an acquisition a year ago. And when you do an acquisition, you need to be able to scale. And we absolutely could not scale with our system the way it was. And we didn't feel we could scale as well if we brought our own servers in-house. And from the reading that I've done, companies are worth more that have gone up to the cloud. Because if you acquire or are acquired by a company that is not up on the cloud, you're going to have to pay the money to do it. And it's not cheap. So one of our board members provided us with a sheet that shows the progress, when you think everything's going to go well, and then you're down and you're, oh my gosh, what are we doing? This is never going to work kind of thing. And then you come up the other side. I never felt like we got to the bottom. I never got to the feeling like, oh my gosh, what are we doing? We should never have done this. Not at all. I was pleased from the get-go how it went. So the transition actually went very, very smoothly. And I was shocked by how smoothly it went. And one of the reasons it did is because Proxios has a process by which they bring on new clients. And so that process has made it very helpful that they let us know what they expect, and we can ask questions and they can give the answers. We had a project manager assigned to it, Erica Miller, who was absolutely outstanding. And she kept our ducks in a row. She followed up on everything all the time with us. We had weekly meetings. The other thing that I did is I pulled our entire leadership team into the whole process so that they were part of the weekly meetings with Erica. So I wasn't having to communicate to our leadership team about what Erica said. They were right there and could ask their own questions as well. I was just so very pleased that the whole transition went so well. Usually you have something that doesn't go quite right, but the few things that didn't go quite right, we had a lot of problems with our shipping vendors, not having nothing to do with Proxios, but our external shipping vendors talking with us. The whole transition went very, very smoothly. And the Sage transition in particular, which was so important because our whole business is based on that, was seamless. So it went really well. I've been through these transitions before. I have done this kind of a project in companies before, and it was more difficult to do in those days than it was now. So everyone got new double monitors, because one of the things that was required in our going to the cloud is we didn't want to go to the cloud version of Sage, our ERP system. And so we went to, what's it called? ABD. And Sage went up on ABD, and so we needed to have dual monitors so that we could have our ABD on one screen and we could have our other things on the second screen, and most of us have a third screen for like our email. And so that's really cool. So everybody's got a new endpoint, as we call them, a new computer, a laptop. We went to all laptops for everybody in the company so that we could deal with people wanting to work from home. Because, of course, in today's age, that's what we have to work with. So that was a decision. We got rid of all of our desktops. And then we have the new monitors, and we have new docking stations. And I've learned that docking stations are not the old-fashioned things where you put the laptop in, but you just plug in. So that's worked too. And then I have this same setup at home, so for when I work at home on Mondays and Fridays. Yeah, it's really cool. Oh, absolutely. I was terrified. We did not have good security systems in place. We didn't have MFA. We thought we had MFA with our other provider, and we came to find out that wasn't the case. So I would wake up in the middle of the night thinking about what do I do if this happens before we go through our cutover. And in fact, we had an internet problem the day before our cutover, and I thought, oh no. But that was not what the problem was. And so since we have done our cutover, I have a much greater sense of security with our data, both from the outside world and then some reasonable control within the company that sensitive data, payroll data, that kind of thing, is secure. And the board does too, because one of the things I do is report on risk and do risk assessments for the company. And so it's a big risk if you don't have control over your data and over your systems. And we evaluated whether or not we should bring an IT group in-house, but that's difficult to do because then they may not have all the expertise you need for all the different things you need. And with Proxios, we get people who are doing nothing but that kind of work 24 hours a day. And so we get the latest technology, which is great. Another reason that we decided to do this whole cloud transition rather than purchase our own servers is that we are planning to expand, and we probably will expand through acquisition as well. As I mentioned, we did an acquisition a year ago. And when you do an acquisition, you need to be able to scale. And we absolutely could not scale with our system the way it was. And we didn't feel we could scale as well if we brought our own servers in-house. And from the reading that I've done, companies are worth more that have gone up to the cloud. Because if you acquire or are acquired by a company that is not up on the cloud, you're going to have to pay the money to do it. And it's not cheap. After we did our cutover, we needed to go to the support team, right? So we were going from implementation to regular maintenance, if you will. And so that was a transition for everyone in your company as well as my company. We had, Erica and I had a hard time getting everybody in both companies to email support. But finally we were able to do so. And so the support team has been all over, completing the last bits and pieces of the implementation that we hadn't completed. And then Jake Pastore I have a meeting with him once a week. We just took the same time slot we had with Erica and continued on with our meetings. We go over what the tickets are. We try to get at the root cause of what the issues are, and he understands that, and so he's really good at looking at what the root cause is. And there are a couple of additional items that you guys are doing. The help desk folks that have been assigned to the help desk tickets, Ryan Ranello, I think his name is, he's awesome. He calls me. I have his direct phone number. He contacts me at home or here. We work on both my systems at home and here. And then he calls me back in a day or two, and he says, as a result of the changes we did, are things working properly? So I really appreciate that. I know Sam is assisting him as well. And so the support team has been fantastic. And I will tell you that the support team of the company we had before was not. What else can I say? Yes, because our leadership team was part of the Proxios implementation team, I take back to this leadership team and ask for their feedback about how it's going with Proxios. And in fact, I go around at least once a week to everybody in the company with a laptop. So of course there were some issues here and there, but they were one-offs, and I asked everyone to include me on the support tickets so I could see if there was any issue that was happening routinely with different people. But the leadership team, when I asked for their feedback, they said, I got to tell you that this group at Proxios is head and shoulders above any other group we've ever worked with. And that includes the implementation team and the support team as well. So everybody's happy with it. Do we still have a few little problems here and there? Yes, and we always will. But it's gone very smoothly. You know, the biggest reason I would recommend Proxios is you get a really organized process for going through this process. And that's really helpful on the customer's end because I have a full-time job being a CFO. I have an IT hat on occasionally, but it's not something that I am doing full-time at all, and you guys are. And so it makes my job much easier to have this organized process for bringing clients on board. And then the level of expertise that every one of you have, every person I've come in contact with in Proxios has been very professional and had a tremendous level of expertise, much more so than I've ever seen before. So, you know, what can I say? I'm happy with that. I am a cloud enthusiast, and so Proxios has sent me a cloud and a cube. Thank you.